Hello everybody in the YouTube world. I am back. No, I did not die. I know it probably seemed like I did. I was gone forever. But the thing is, I was busy. I was so busy rehearsing with the Unbelievables. The rehearsals went on forever. We had 13, 14-hour days where we were just sitting around testing lighting and rehearsing the different dance moves. It's not a full-on magic show. I'm the magician, but there's a comic, and then there's a sword swallower, and there's a aerialist, there's a juggler. It's a variety show. It's probably one of the best variety shows I've ever seen in my life. I just finished the tour in the Sydney Opera House. That was incredible and such an amazing opportunity to perform at such an iconic area. Now we're in Melbourne, and this is my dressing room. I know it's kind of strange, kind of a strange dressing room. It's a little bit retro. Very yellow lighting. Sorry about that. I wish I had more whiter Chris Ramsey type lighting, but I don't have that. And so right now we're in Melbourne. We're here for about 2 more weeks and the Hammer Hall. And now after that, we will be going to Perth. So if you guys are in the area, come check it out. It's a really cool show. Those of you who are going to watch the show just to watch my act, I do have a warning for you. This was completely out of my control. But those of you who know my acts, who have seen my performances before, you know exactly what you're getting. The music that I use, for Dream Act, I use the Inception soundtrack. For 52 Shades, I use M83. For this show, the producers are forcing me to use, for Dream Act, they want me to use Michael Bublé's Feeling Good. I did not feel good about that at all. I was really not used to performing to such a different type of song, and I completely disagreed with that choice. And also on top of that, 52 Shades, instead of performing to M83, I'm performing to Imagine by John Lennon.
Imagine there's no heaven.
So you've been warned. If you do plan on coming to my show, you're going to be seeing a slightly different type of performance. It's not my style and not my personality, but it's part of the show. I think you guys will like the show as a whole. Another exciting thing though that I want to mention was I was on a German TV show. Me and a bunch of other famous magicians, Simon Piero, Hiroki Hara, Maddie Gilbert, you know a lot of these faces, Barry Stewart. We were all invited to perform in front of 16,000 people. It's a crazy big theater. It's more like a stadium. I wouldn't really call it a theater. For the Eierlich brothers. These guys are superstars in Germany, and this was their TV show. And essentially, each of us had to do our acts, and then the audience voted on the little machine and to see who was their favorite. Now, I really wanted to show you the entire clip that I had over in Facebook, but I don't think because of contract rules I'm not allowed to show it on YouTube. But I'll be playing pieces and bits of it here and there on right over here maybe, or I'm not really sure where actually, to be honest. But yeah, and I won. Your Shin won. They happen to like me, I guess. But every other act was so incredible. Without further ado, I did promise you I would teach you guys the second deal. Now, those of you who are new to my channel, I just want to let you know that I'm not going to be teaching you exactly how to do this second deal. Like, I'm not going to do any over-the-shoulder shot on the in-depth view of how to do it. This is my take on the second deal for magic. I do get a lot of questions from magicians, especially younger guys, who practice the second deal for hours and hours and hours, and then at the end of the day, they're like, I don't know how to use it. I don't know when to use it. This is just my little grain of salt, how you can apply the second deal to your routines if you're a magician and not feel like you've wasted, 3 years of your life practicing the second deal. Now, unless you are like Richard Turner and you are God level at doing the second deal, then by all means, do it as a gambling demonstration. Here's a couple of tips on how you can use the second deal in magic. Another way of doing the second deal, of course, is as a color change. So let's just say you have the Ace of Spades and you say, what was your card again? The Ace of Diamonds? Oh, okay. So let's say they pick the Ace of Diamonds. You show the Ace of Spades, say, oh, that's not your card. What was your card again? And then it changes to the Ace of Diamonds. So I'll show you one more time. All you're doing, of course, is just a double lift, and then you just do the second deal. And then you've changed it to a different card. So that's just a cool different variation of utilizing the second deal. And for me, one of my favorite ways of using the second deal is to clean up a routine. And so this is just one of a simple routine that is an example. Let's pretend you're doing the frustration count with the quote-unquote four jokers. And then you snap your hands, and now they turn into the 4 aces. This is the perfect position for you to now get rid of that joker that's inside of this packet. Because you know what's happening, so I'll do it one more time. We show the 4 jokers using the frustration count. Like this, and then when we switch it immediately to the 4 aces, we're left with a double at all times. Alright, and the problem is we are not able to clean up directly. And what I mean by that is this. So if we have the 4 aces here, and I close it up, I can't just take the 4 cards and then give it out to them, because there's going to be that joker still over there, and of course that missing ace. So this is the perfect time for you to do the second deal. So you can now deal 1, 2, 3 cards normally, and on the last one you just do the second deal. Okay, so I'm going to do it in full speed in the whole routine, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So the 4 jokers, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever your routine is, and you snap your hands, and then now you have the 4 aces over here. And now for the cleanup, you say okay, and then just go ahead and check out the 4 aces like that. And now the 4 aces are here, and then the jokers, of course, on top. When you're doing this type of routine and this type of cleanup, you always want it to happen on the offbeat. All right. So what I mean by that is you show the 4 aces. You don't want to go like this. Okay, watch the 4 aces. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to do that, because you want it to be really relaxed. 1, 2, 3. Go and check out those aces and make sure it's totally fine. And then you retracted the joker. I usually like to do moves like this anyways on the offbeat. If you look at my work on the top change, it's kind of the same thing. Yes, of course, your technique has to be somewhat good in order to prevent it from looking bad. But you're using the offbeat and kind of your body motion and what you're saying to also call attention away. Now, if your second deal is really good, then you can actually utilize it in a trick. And this is what I mean by that. You have the 4 4s on top, riffle down, they say stop. You force them the first 4, so let's say it's the 4 of hearts. And then now you're going to second deal onto the table and ask them, just say stop anywhere you want. And so let's just say, I don't know, they say stop here, now, okay? And then now you've forced the 4 reds. Of course, this is a more direct way of doing the second deal. This is not necessarily doing it on the offbeat. This is more using it as the actual method itself, not as a cleanup or anything like that. And so it's a little bit riskier. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really good at the second deal. That's one of the ways. Another way of doing it, so let's say they pick a card. They pick the Queen of Hearts, and you run through the deck. You say, look, there's no duplicates. No? No? Okay, cool. So we're going to place the Queen into the deck, like so, about halfway. And it doesn't really matter. I'm not really doing this really well, but I'm going to deal down like this. And can you just please say stop anywhere? So just say stop. And they say stop over here, and then they land at the Queen of Hearts. And so this is just a very classic way of forcing the Queen of Hearts on the 7th position, because people usually tend to say stop around the 7th or 8th card. And so I'm sure you guys know this method. It's very simple. It's a very simple psychological force. And so this is the same thing, but using the second deal as an out. And what I mean by that is this. So let's say you have the Queen on the 7th position, right? So we have the Queen on the 7th position. And so now you're dealing the cards 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but in case they don't say stop, you start second dealing as an out. And so now it doesn't matter when they say stop, you have the Queen of Hearts. And it's also good for hecklers, because some hecklers don't want to say stop. You know, they just let you keep dealing, and then they try to mess you up. So this is a cool out that you can use. So another tip for the second deal is, I noticed the slower you go for the second deal, it tends to look better. Notice how it looks almost like it's kind of melting through the top card, even though I'm doing the second deal, right? But if I'm going slow, it doesn't look like a second deal. It doesn't look like you're doing anything funny. It looks almost like you're dealing the top card when you're not. And so that's something to keep in mind, because I see a lot of people do this, you know, when they're doing the second deal, and it doesn't look very clean. It doesn't look very fair. And so when you're doing the second deal, you always want to make sure you're just very relaxed, but the actual action of pulling the card out doesn't have to be fast at all. Okay, you want to make sure you're going smooth and the rhythm has to be always the same. Okay, let's say you don't like doing the top change, even though the top change is a great move, and you want to switch out a card by using the second deal. Don't do this. I notice some people do this. I see that they do that. You should use it kind of mixing an offbeat and using the bigger action to cover the small action. So let's say you want to have the Queen of Spades and you want to change it for the card beneath it. You say, what was your card again? And then they say 5 of clubs. And then now you've done the change. So you notice what's happening. I'm using my left hand to use the bigger action to cover the small action. I'm also using my left hand to clear the packet, like this. Okay, so I'm not using my right hand to clear the card anymore. So like this. What was your card again? 5 of clubs, like that. Here's my final thing with the second deal. It's just a little trick that I think is really cool for you to do, a transpo effect, and I really like the justification of the second deal. So let's say they select the ace of hearts. We'll leave it underneath the box over there, and we'll take a random card like the Joker, and with a snap it can change into the ace, and now underneath the box is the Joker. It's a very free-flowing effect. There's no double lifts, you're not really having to do anything, and everything's kind of justified. So you have a single 8 of diamonds like this, you place it underneath the box, or you can throw it onto the table, and then you show them the Joker, and now you just do any sort of change, can be duck change, toll change, or whatever, and now you have their selected card. Alright guys, now before I go, I want to talk about a collaboration between myself and the TCC Playing Card Company. Essentially, I made the trailer for them, and you can check it out down below on the Kickstarter page. And their decks are going for $2.99 per deck. That is incredibly cheap. That has to be the cheapest custom deck that I've ever seen. So go ahead, click on the link, get yourself a brick, get yourself 2 bricks, and because these decks are selling out really quickly. Do it right now, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.